Chronicles of Hope is essential reading for seekers of inspiration and spiritual empowerment. This series offers nourishment for those on a path of increased awareness at this challenging time. Inspired by higher sources of wisdom, Chronicles of Hope delivers messages to lift your spirit with a roadmap of hope and guidelines for living a life of expanded consciousness. The guides offer powerful insight for mental, emotional, and spiritual growth at this critical tipping point for humanity. The message is clear. We must change. We have the power to raise our vibrational energy individually and collectively before it's too late. I am Lois Herman, author of the best-selling Chronicles of Hope series and host of the Inspiring Hope radio show at WSMN.live or 95.3 FM. You can find me at loisherman.com or chroniclesofhope.net.
Welcome to Inspiring Hope with Lois Herman, a leading expert in professional coaching, clinical hypnosis, and energy clearing. Lois is an award-winning author of Chronicles of Hope. She has decades of experience in advanced hypnosis techniques, has conducted highly effective success coaching programs that have helped clients discover ways to achieve success, empower themselves, their families, as well as holistic practitioners to expand their practices. Get ready to be empowered with your host, Lois Herman.
Good morning and welcome to Inspiring Hope. I am your host, Lois Herman, and I'm here to inspire you with positive messages and celebrate special people who are making a difference in our world when we focus our thoughts and energies on truth, honesty, and integrity. We create powerful shifts that cause us to be more positive and peaceful. As we lift our energy, we empower everyone around us. If we each do what we can to make small shifts in awareness, we create ripples of hope. Join us as catalysts for positive change for our families, our communities, and our world at large. And I hope you're inspired by today's show. And today is a little bit of a different day. I do want to ask you, I always start with the question, what is your truth? We all have things that we've been taught to believe, other things that we've learned through experience, and still more truths that are unfolding every day through seeking and openness. What is most important is to stand for something, lest you fall for anything. So today I'm going to be joined by my soul sister, Lisa Schermerhorn. We're excited to both be giving presentations on the Truth Tour, and we decided to share them with you first. So be sure and let us know your thoughts. And you can find the agenda for the Truth Tour at truthtour.net. So I'm just going to, we've got a song we want to play by Billy Joel. Honesty, and that's what the Truth Tour is all about, waking up people. And Lisa, are you there with me?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine. Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I am so awesome and so excited to be here. And if you had said to me 6 months ago that you and I would be having this conversation and being on this Truth Tour, I would have laughed at you.
I know. Things have just evolved over the past couple months, have they not? It's like everything that we've been praying for and building toward and working on is coming to this crescendo. It's not a culmination, it's a crescendo. And I'm excited to be doing this with you. So
as I am as well, and we're about to go on quite the adventure.
We sure are. So we're going to be in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania next weekend. Our presentation is on Friday, and and on Saturday, on the following week, we're going to be in Vegas for the 24th. That's going to be really exciting with all of the truthers. And that, oh my gosh, we're both excited. So, what I want to do now is we're going to share. We're supposed to only have 20 minutes apiece. And let's see if I can get through my 107 slides. I'm
God, I was thinking of you last night when you told me that, and I said, I'm think I'm using less than 10.
You're a wise woman. This may get winnowed down after this presentation today. So this is a test run, guys. Let me know what you're thinking. I'm not going to be able to show you the slides. Obviously, on the radio show, I have a lot of beautiful quotes from the Unquietus and the archangels that I'm using, but I won't even speak to them. They'll be seen by the audience. So I'm going to start by saying, hello, I'm Lois Herman. This is Inspiring Hope with tools for sovereign spiritual energy. And we're going to start by setting sacred space, and I'll tell you a little bit later why we do this. But I want you to visualize with me. We're going to start with 4 columns or pillars of light, north, south, east, and west. And we're going to add 4 more. So we're standing in an octagon of pillars of light that dive deep into Mother Earth and extend far up to Father Sky with a foundation of light underneath. Walls of crystalline light connecting all the pillars and a magical dome of light overhead. A shiny reflective coating on all of the walls. And we're going to invite Saint Germain to just wrap us in his beautiful violet flame. I kind of think of it as a purpley mist that keeps us in protected stealth mode. And we'll invite a little bit of that mist inside our space just to transform anything that we may have picked up along the way. We'll also invite into our sacred space our divine protectors from the light. Each of us have the guides that we call. So I'm just going to leave that up to you, the divine protectors from the light, the divine healers from the light, and the divine communicators, so that we may all be open and setting the intention that this session, this presentation, is for everyone's highest good. So the angels tell us, the more you think you know, the less likely you are able to learn. When you understand how little you know, you are willing to accept new information. So we do know that our world's in crisis. Those of us who are listening to this know that humanity is in crisis, and we are at a tipping point. There's a lot of people doing a lot of great things. What I want to share with you is information about energy feeders, vibrational attack, and how to protect your energy. In other words, I'm planning to give you some sovereign spiritual tools. So let's think about vibrational energy. Everything is energy, from the macroscopic to the microscopic, and everything in between has an energy, a vibrational energy to it. And what we are told is that the Earth's tipping point is coming faster than they had expected. And it's up to us humans to do something about it. Well, what does that mean? A lot of people are doing different things. 5 years ago, I was given information that started my awakening, and I have been on a mission ever since. So these wise ones told us the Earth is out of balance. We live on this amazing blue-green planet, but there have been 5 great extinctions, and we're facing another great apocalypse if we don't do something now. Well, what the blip can we do? What are we? We're just simple humans, right? However, what they shared with us is that negativity in our world is out of control. And we have the power to control negativity, at least in our own sphere. So my friend Brian says, Lois, you need to tell people there are millions of unemployed angels out there just waiting to be put to work. They're waiting to be asked. They cannot interfere. We live on a free will planet. They cannot interfere with our free will, and many of us are too stubborn to ask for help. Therefore, we struggle. But the minute we start to invite them in and ask for help, the minute our life changes and magic and miracles happen. So they give us a whole list of different beings to ask. And as we get comfortable and get personal, we have to also use great discernment to determine which beings we're calling on, because there are a lot of imposters out there. And I know this because 30 years ago, I started down this path. I was a diagnostic pioneer in ultrasound in a very toxic relationship. He had the ability to use dark energy to control me and to send powerful zings of energy. I consulted a priest who taught me 30 years ago how to protect. Fast forward, I ended up escaping in the middle of the night from that relationship and took a job as a systems designer, moved far across the country, and moved into a house with a ghost. And my life has never been the same. So I ended up communicating with the ghost, and then there were more ghosts. My daughter would see them, and I would help them into the light. I had no idea what I was doing, but it stimulated a fascination with spirits, angels, and all things metaphysical. I became a hypnotist and did that on the side for many years until about 10 years ago. I left my corporate high-powered position and decided to pursue my passion. Well, I soon became known as a spirit communicator, and I ended up being involved in rescuing the spirits from the mill yards of Manchester and others. So that was about 20 years ago, where I was doing a lot of spirit children rescuing. And then 5 years ago, my life completely changed. I had this situation where a client came to me, went into trance, opens his eyes, and says, "Hey, we need your help to save humanity. Humanity's facing the next great apocalypse if they don't do something now." So, 20-something sessions later, I have the making of the 3 books, and we can talk about that later. You're going to see little messages filtered through there, through this presentation, that come from the collective. That's what they call themselves. And one of the things, the messages that Archangel Michael gave to me 30 years ago was, we must ask for protection first, always protection first, then healing, then empowerment. And he told me across all levels: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, psychic, social, professional, financial, environmental, technological, you name it, ask and it shall be. So I went on to become what I now call a metaphysical light worker. And I am an energy expert because this is the realm that I deal in. I do a lot of work with negative entities, earthbound spirits. Oh my goodness, I've sent thousands and thousands of them into the light. That's a whole other topic. What I really want to share with you today is about what's happening in your energy and how it is being affected and why. So it is about what we do while we're here, not why we're here, but what we do with what we know that has all the value. And we are living right now in a battle of good and evil. But what is really happening in the unseen world is what is important. So yes, we've got this tipping point of division, anger, hate. There's so many things going on. But what's going on behind the scenes? People are unaware that they are in this mass psychosis. But again, why? Let's talk about energy. Earth is energy. The Schumann resonance records Earth's energy. Water has energy. Many of you have heard of Dr. Emoto's responsive water experiment, where he taped on flasks of water words like love, hope, hate. And the water, when looked at under an electron microscope, changed in its whole appearance. So we, as humans, are 80-something% water. So when we hold those words, those names, those thoughts in us, it changes our physical vibrational energy. So plants have energy, crystals have energy, symbols have energy. Those of you who do Reiki know you've been given symbols to use that are for distance and for different reasons and different modes. So humans are energy. Think about our chakras. They're energy centers in our body that when we keep them balanced, they exude energy. Our toroidal field is truly our aura that people can see when they're in a somewhat altered state. That toroidal field is who we really are, and we exude this magnetic energy. So we are powerful sources of energy. Remember that. This is key. We, humans, are energy sources. And right now, humans are out of balance. There are a lot of emotional energy feeders because of all the fear, the hate, all of that. We've got these entities on us, these little energies that are keeping us in somewhat in balance. We also have low-level energies that are looking to us as sources for energy. There are earthbound spirits, people who died, like the woman that I moved into the house, Judy, who lost, she died. She shot herself in the head in my basement, but she was hanging around my daughter thinking it was her daughter. She's not evil. She's not mean. She's just lost and sad. We've sent her into the light. These earthbound spirits do not have energy of themselves, of their own, so they attach to us and they drain our energy. And then there's the nasty entities that I've been dealing with for 30 years, the reptilians, the tall grays, these ones that are here to feed on our energy. That is their main intent, is to use humans for energy. Then there's also the young souls who have not been around so many times, and so they're here just to experience all of the emotions, and they really disturb the energy in our world. And then there's also, we're uncovering so many different types of implants that are put in the light workers, the higher vibe people. And then, of course, there's fear. So there's too much negative in our world. And that's what's causing this global crisis, in addition to all of these feelings of loneliness and the fears of sickness, the job uncertainty. There's so much going on in our world, and it's causing people to have confused beliefs and inciting fear. And what is it doing? It's allowing these entities to feed on fear. Many of you have seen The Map of Consciousness by David Hawkins from Power versus Force, where the low level of guilt and shame are paralyzing. Those are the ones that the entities are trying to just get rid of. They're the useless feeders, as they say. They don't need them. They're looking to create the anger and fear because that's what they feed off of. They want anger and fear among the masses. Those of us that have the peace, love, the higher vibrational energy are the ones that they are trying to inhibit. So they put implants, they put different things, they send people to interfere with our high vibe because they're threatened by us. Because fear causes sickness to humans, and to be healthy, we've got to drink in the light or maintain positive energy. So realize the dark side is in an energy crisis. We've been doing a lot of work cleaning them up. So they feed on the negative energy, they feed on anger, fear, division, and they are afraid. They're really afraid of the high level of love, of peace, of positive energy, of unity. So what we have to do is discover ways to maintain our human resourceful energy in order to keep our energy bright and strong and to project to push them away. So let's talk a little bit about how energy affects and exposures. So I'm going to go through, this is actually a series of slides that's directly from the Uncreatus telling us about these lower energies that are, when a person lowers their vibrational energy because of undesirable thoughts and personal neglect, is when these entities can attach. And what we have to do is be aware of where we're being programmed, turn off the media, and really work on ourselves. They're low-level entities that are from other dimensions. They come through the torn veils, and they are seeking to feed on people's energy as a food source. And as the vibration of our physical dimension lowers, it's easy for these low-level entities to cross the veil. So not only do we have to keep our energy strong, but we have to protect the veils. We've got to protect it for humanity. So there are so many people that are unprotected, so many spiritual people who were open, and that's when they end up taking on these entities. So what can we do? Only human consciousness can stop the lower vibrational energies. Many of you are aware of the multidimensional beings. The physical body is the body that we shed each new life. This body does not come back when it dies. And we know when we've had toxic exposure that we use teas and supplements and EMF protection. The mental is the intellectual, the creative part of us. This is the part that what we need to do is keep learning, growing, turn off the news, turn off the things that's going to interfere with our mind and allow us to use our mental abilities. The emotional part of our body is where our memories are that we get stuck. We ruminate over the negative, and we've got to learn to shift to limit our exposure to toxic people and surround ourselves with good and uplifting people. And then there's the spiritual being. This is the eternal being. This is our auric field. When people read an aura, they're really looking at the real person, the whole person. The physical, this body is the clothes we wear inside of our aura. And the challenge is people are not paying attention to the spiritual part of themselves in order to keep it healthy and strong. So what we have to do, and what I want to share with you, is how we've got to keep the spiritual aspect strong. And you can hear in my voice it's a little raspy. I had an opportunity yesterday to be exposed by a group of very vaxxy people, and I'm like a canary in the cage. So I get symptoms, and this is what I want to share with you, how it affects your aura and what you can do to change it. So I know that my voice is raspy, and that's okay because it's going to go away. So I want to talk a little bit about the controllers in our world that have been messing with us. This is not something new. We have been messed with for centuries, and through the MK Ultra mind control, there's been so many different types of grooming and experiments that have gone on, and implants. It blows my mind what we're uncovering and finding the resilience of the human spirit. The humans are absolutely amazing how we have sustained over all of these attempts to take us out, to lower our energy. So we've been exposed to toxic exposure through our food, through water, through fluoride, vaccines, aluminum, chemtrails, Agent Orange. That's been going on for many, many, many years without us being fully aware. Now that we're aware, we pay attention to it. So what I want to share with you today is about the auric energy awareness. Our aura, that energy around us that many of us can see. Usually my clients can see when they go into trance and they just look at their aura. That has recently changed. So in a healthy spiritual energy, you're going to see a clear aura, a light, bright, colorful, and glowing, and it's balanced, and it can expand. You can expand it, you can contract it. The aura is absolutely amazing, and the colors are unique to the person or situation. Like I typically have a gold aura. I don't know why, but that is just my color aura. Other people that I work with regularly might have they can consistently have a blue, a light blue light color aura, or another one might have a pink aura. So we have our own unique personality in our aura, but that's a healthy aura. So traditionally, when people are struggling, they might have a thin, weak aura, a young soul, or it might be depleted. There would be voids from trauma or emotional issues, or cords that are based on curses or attachments, or dark entities that we can see as shadows in and around auras. So we just clear them and send them packing. That's just normal stuff for me. And I have some pictures of what a contaminated spiritual energy looks like in an aura, where it's unbalanced and where there's attachments. So that's just normal in my crazy world. However, how do people pick up these? Well, it's when they're dabbling in dark magic, children with imaginary playmates, curses that have gone for generations, trauma, hospitalizations, or toxic exposure. Many times, light workers their energy is depleted when they're helping other people, and they end up picking up something from someone they're helping. Okay, let's fast forward to 2020. What happened in 2020? We became aware of this pandemic. We'll just call it COVID exposure. We were exposed to mask wearing, to tests, to vax, and we've discovered since then how all of these things are affecting our aura. We're looking, the aura's changed. Something was different. And that was consistent. We were looking at the auras and going, what is going on here? And I say we because I work with a fabulous group of light workers, and we work as a tandem team. The auras were different. When someone had COVID, for instance, the aura was muddy, orange, dense, thick, close to the body. Masks would cause the aura to be depleted. Test, again, this muddy aura. And we also found a lot of people with blocked pineals. In other words, the crown chakra was no longer open. It was completely blocked, as was the brow chakra. And then the other thing that was very different were people that had been vaxxed and shed on, had a lot of metallic. Oh, look at that. Isn't their aura pretty? It's all sparkly. No, those are metallic flex spots, spikes and butts, and they don't belong in auras. And then we were finding that even people who were around others would end up with this burnt, rusty-looking aura. And what's up with this? It was very strange. What's going on here? We went on to discover even more strange things: coils, cloaks, beacons, things that were placed in people or absorbed into people for different reasons. So, the symptoms, if you've had toxic exposure, just like me, being around wonderful people, vaxxy people, I have burned, my eyes are burning like I've been in a smoky room, my throat is scratchy, my lungs get constricted, and I'm itching all over. I'm like very sensitive, very much an empath, and I pick up on this. Others do as well. So people will notice that something is not right in their energy, in what they're feeling. And what we've been told is that there are ways to change this. Mother Gaia actually came through at one point and with her hands on her hips at one of our group meetings, our team meetings, and said, "You guys are always calling on the archangels, and they're fabulous, but you are my children. You need to call on me. I can clean that gunk out of your body if you call on my energy." So that's what we do. And I'm going to go through this with you in just a few moments. Also realize that our precious animals are exposed as well. They are exposed to us. They're on the ground. They're walking around in bare feet. They're connecting with a lot of the stuff from all the chemtrails and all this other stuff that we bring in the house. They're exposed to. And so we've got to make sure that we clear them as well. So I go into I did a 4-hour webinar on transforming toxic energy, reboot, realign, and reprogram the zombies. So that I can't give you all of that today. I can give you just a taste so that you can understand how important this is. This is a critical piece that people are missing in their spiritual hygiene. We must take care of our spiritual selves in order to take care of the rest of ourselves. So I just went through with you the sacred space, and you can find all of these exercises on my loisherman.com/info page. I've created a page that has videos, audios, and all of this stuff free. I give it away because it's that important. So I just went through the sacred space with you. And I do that, people who know me know that I do that to protect from any nefarious energy coming in. I'll do that at the start of my day with clients. I do that morning and night to sleep better at night and to set my intention for the day. But there's also the auric cleansing protocol that is really detailed. I did that this morning, actually last night and this morning, so I know that my aura is healing. I'm drinking my dandelion tea. I'm doing everything I need to do to remove the residual that's stuck in my aura, and it will get better. But there's a whole cleansing protocol that we use, and it keeps evolving. So I don't know whether I'll have time to do that with you today, but I do want to let you know that the other thing we find is the energy in the chakras are stuck. When people have been exposed to these toxic elements, their energies are not moving, which is why they feel lethargic and listless and don't have the energy. And once we use, this was the Mother Gaia technique. She sends up her beautiful molten liquid light that we bring it up to each of the different chakras and getting them to spin. Because if we keep our energy flowing and spinning, it's a little bit harder for anything to stick in it. So we've got to keep our chakra spinning and our auric field in a moving state. So then there's the protective bubble that the priest taught me many years ago. It's evolved over time, but just imagine you've got a spacesuit on. You've got a bubble around you with a shiny reflective coating, and St. Germain's violet flame, keeping yourself in that protective bubble as you go through the day is critical to keeping your energy strong. So this is what we're doing with energy alignment, and the secret sauce, the absolute secret sauce, is we must ask. We've got guides that work with us, but we must ask. They do all the work. We just point and say, can you help me with this? Sure. And they are willing to ask with discernment. You've got to make sure that you are working with guides from the light. And if you are dealing with issues and you can't clear your energy, reach out, because we are finding so many things in people's auras, from these implants from the extraterrestrials, the tall grays that have been implanting in the light workers when they were like 3 years old, because they can recognize the high vibe frequency, and they've got these nefarious designed tools to avoid the beacon. They've put beacons in to avoid the light worker from fulfilling their mission. So that actually is about 20 minutes. So I'm going to have to wrap this up by saying that we've got a powerful unseen world around us, and we need to protect our energy. We've got to heal ourselves and empower our spirit. We've got to do this for ourselves, our children, our families, for humanities, because we are the creators. We decide what our lives are going to be. We decide what our world's going to look like. It's not up to anybody else. It's up to us. So thank you. Come and see me at my table, and I will share as much information as I can, because my mission is to share what I have learned with you. Thank you so much. Ta-da! Lisa, are you still there?
I'm still here.
Are you sleeping?
I was just listening so intensely, and I can attest. And this is the thing that's so hard, is I myself, as an energy worker, I clear myself daily. I protect myself. I wear all kind of protective jewelry that's supposed to deflect all this stuff. And I was at the 4th of July parade last week, around thousands of people. And I got home. I was sick, couldn't move. Talked to Lois. Lois checked my energy field. And what color was my energy field? Orange.
Orange, muddy orange, yep.
Muddy orange.
Yep. It happened time and time again. So we can tell. And it's, if you've been around people, no matter what kind of clearing you do, it affects your aura. Now you've got this rusty. It's from the graphene oxide.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So I was very grateful. Lois took me through some very powerful clearing exercises, and the difference in how I felt was immediate. And I will tell you, one of the things that they really don't do a good service to when people are trained in working with energy is protection.
Yes.
One of the things that's completely overlooked, and I would say the foundation and most important thing that you need to do before you do anything, is protect yourself first.
Absolutely.
And we don't have the time, but I could go into countless times where I have been attacked. I've been working with clients and suddenly heard another voice. And so it's real. And even if you say you don't believe it, because I didn't believe, I always thought, since if you have good thoughts and good energy, they hurt you.
No.
Not true.
No, if you got that high vibe, you're tasty. You're good.
Yeah, you're tasty.
You got some good tasty energy going. We'll have to have so follow us on the Truth Tour, and we'll have discussions afterwards, I'm sure. So Lisa, I'm going to turn it over to you. You have a fabulous presentation, and I'll just let you roll.
Yes. So the title of my presentation is "In Every Belief is a Lie," and if you look at the word belief, LIE is in the middle of it. And this was such a profound, working with the subconscious mind, it was such a profound thing for me to sit with that sentence. And, most of us, how many of you believe that what you know is true? Everyone will raise their hands. You wouldn't believe it if you didn't think it was true. But how many times did you think you were right about something, better yet certain about something, just to discover that you were wrong? And that can be really jarring. And it even happened to me recently in a meditation class. We would alternate leading it. My friend was leading it, and she was using some language that is a foreign language. And I started getting irritated because she was doing it backwards. And I even at one point stopped her and said something, and she just ignored me and kept going. And it bothered me, and then I finally let it go. The following session we met, the next person who was leading it, she did it backwards too. And then I realized, oh my God, I've been doing it backwards. And it wasn't a big deal. It just went to prove a point that we can be convinced that we're right and be wrong. And so I talk to people about what's the difference between your belief and knowledge. You would think it's your level of certainty, but I was certain that the woman was doing the meditation incorrectly. So how can that be? Well, I talk about beliefs and where they come from. And, where do you think your beliefs come from? And what's interesting is from the time we're born and even before we're born, because we can actually inherit the beliefs of our parents, grandparents, and ancestors unconsciously. And they work through us, and we don't even know where these beliefs come from. But we have 5 major brain frequencies that our brain moves in and out of. And as a newborn, we start out at a brain frequency called delta. And delta is a big wave, and if you think about all the things that a newborn has to absorb, it's extraordinary. Light, color, sound, taste, emotion, all of those things. And that information is being absorbed at such an enormous level, but they're also picking up on your beliefs, your thoughts, your emotions, what's going on, fear especially, anxiety. They pick up on all of that. Then as you go into elementary school, you're moving into the brainwave state of theta, still picking up enormous amounts of information. Even Dr. Bruce Lipton talks about the fact that from the time you're born till 7, most of your belief systems are already programmed into you, which is really extraordinary if you think about how frightening that is. Yeah. And then we move into the state of alpha. And how many of you have driven down the road and passed an exit, just completely zoning out, or getting to a destination, don't even remember how you got there? Well, that's the state of alpha. And we zone out a lot. And what happens is we're actually being programmed at that point in that state. And there's a very powerful technique called huna, and it's the ancient Hawaiian teach this. And you literally can do a lazy eye stare. And if you take your fingers and you bring your fingers out to the periphery of your vision, and you bring your eyes out so that you can, get to the edge of your peripheral vision and just do a lazy eye stare and take a deep breath, you're actually putting yourself into the state of alpha. And what happens is, and I hope you'll do that now, you will absorb this information and retain it at a deeper level. And then when you want to use it, you can put yourself back into that state, and when you do, you can regurgitate, you can bring that information back out and retain it quickly. So if you have to memorize anything or you need to take a test, it's a great technique to have. And now when people are speaking at a regular, as adults, we're in the state of beta. So as a child, if you think about your programming, your background, your socioeconomic status, so if you imagine a lens, and each person has their own distinct individual lens, and we get programmed by your socioeconomic status. So So, what was money to you as a child? Did money flow easily and effortlessly, or was money looked at something that other people have and you don't? What was your religion? Your religion can dictate what you wear, what you eat, who you even marry, who you relate to. Were you a free spirit, or did you have a strict upbringing? Another big one is people with money, beliefs around money. I was speaking to a group about money mindset and asked the people in the room to tell me about the people in this mansion. And everyone spoke up, and they were saying they hate each other. The parents are getting a divorce. The kids are all on drugs. And they even can't afford to heat the house. And I asked everyone in the room, who here wants to make $1 million a year? And they all raised their hands. And I said, well, how can you make $1 million if you believe that everyone in that house is miserable? Because your subconscious mind is going to sabotage you over and over again, whether or not you get yourself fired, you don't get yourself promoted, you name it. And that's where the beliefs come from. And you end up on this hamster wheel doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result because you don't have awareness of where your lens is and how you see the world. And even to the point, let's say you imagine one person's lens. Maybe they came from a wealthy family, grew up in the suburbs, went to private school. They may have been bullied, had learning disabilities, but they were athletic. Another lens could be someone who was poor. Maybe they were an immigrant. They grew up in an urban environment. They went to public school. And they were an athlete as well, but maybe came from a broken home and were on drugs. Do you think that those two people see the world through the same lens? And I even had someone ask me in a group that I did a demonstration with what people's individual lenses were, and I started cracking up. People, mine looks like a microscope. Mine looks like a binocular. Mine looks like a monocular. So even everyone's individual image of their lens looked different. So I'm going to say something that it's really important, and I want you all to take this in. Our beliefs impact our perceptions, and our perceptions impact our behavior. I'm going to say that again. Our beliefs impact our perceptions, and our perceptions impact our behaviors. So when COVID began, I initially wasn't going to say a word. As things began to get crazier and crazier to the point of insanity, according to my belief system anyway, I was shocked that no one saw the world the way I did. I grew up studying the Holocaust and read every book and saw every movie on the subject. I could never understand how people could sit back idly and allow this to happen. Mm-hmm. But once I began to spend hours on YouTube and Telegram, sending videos and articles to people I knew and I loved, the more I became agitated and the more they became frustrated with me. How could they not see what I see? And once I saw everything unfolding so clearly, I couldn't understand how they couldn't see it, but I couldn't unsee it. And the clearer it became to me, I realized that I was witnessing the unfolding of what I was looking for as a teenager, that I was having the opportunity to have the answer that how people could voluntarily participate in their own destruction. I noticed that you had people watching CNN and MSNBC and Fox News and truthers, and every single person believed that they were getting the truth. And you wouldn't believe it if it wasn't true, right? So how could we have so many people getting their information from so many sources, yet they all believe that they're getting the truth? So now we have this crazy paradox. Is it possible that everyone was getting a piece of the truth and some truth is missing? Well, it just depends on what story you were receiving. And there's an ancient story about 6 blind men and an elephant. They come across this thing, and they're all in different areas on the elephant. They don't know it's an elephant. So the first blind man says, the elephant is like a pillar. He touched the leg and someone else, he was touching the leg, and then someone else says it's like a rope. And then someone else was touching the trunk. as they were said, you are mistaken. It's like a branch of a tree. Someone else was touching the ear and said it's a giant fan. And then someone else was touching the fan, touching the belly and said it's a huge wall. Someone else, one of the other blind men, saw the elephant's tusk, felt it, and they said, you're wrong, it's a solid pipe. They were arguing, and a wise man came up to them and said, you're all right. You're just all at a different place of the elephant, and so you're all getting a different perspective. The elephant has all those features, each of them, that you claim. So we have the problem of receiving partial truths and being bombarded with repetitive information from what we think are trusted sources. So when people are in fear, their blood levels leaves their brain and travels to their extremities. And now people start running, like the saber-toothed tiger. And what also happens is you lose your ability to think rationally. Your autonomic nervous system grabs onto the first information it receives in order to feel safe. And as you know, not everything that makes sense is true, and not everything that's true makes sense. So I had an experience a year ago. I drove to my daughter's party, a party in Massachusetts, 4 hours away. And I was driving, and there was a flashing sign on the side of the road that said, go get your COVID jab. And I suddenly heard a voice in my head compelling me to drive to the next exit and get off and go to CVS. I knew something wasn't right, and I will tell you it took everything that I had to keep my hand steady on that wheel and not move into the next lane. It finally stopped. 5 miles later, it happened again. I thought I was losing my mind. And I remember calling all of my truther friends, telling them that I thought I was crazy. And a month later, I was listening to a fellow named Cliff High, and he was talking about these satellites called the Voice of God, sending messages through electronics, brainwashing people. So here's the thing. We have all been mind-controlled at some point in our lives, through school, through news, through TV, books, parents, whatever. But the question is, what are you going to do with the knowledge that you most likely are carrying beliefs that are not true? So the important thing is to remove what does not belong to you and become sovereign and determine who you are at a deep level, because you're the one who has to live with the consequences of your own decision. So one thing I did was to think about who I am and what did I want to do if I had no fear and no obstacles. And I actually thought about when I thought about it, all my triggers came up. And as a coach, I work with a coach because I believe in coaching, and she was helping me methodically remove the lies that I believed about myself. And my dream was to have a best-selling book and speak about it around the country and maybe even the world. And I've been trying to write a book for 20 years. So a year ago, I sat in front of my computer again, and for what seemed like the 100th time, stared at a blank page. And she would ask me to release the thoughts of the beliefs that were getting in my way. I'm not smart enough. I'm not a writer. Who do I think I am? And I just, how could I even know how to publish? We worked on every belief. She told me, if you can think of something, you can achieve it, because when you think of it, you are actually creating a timeline. And now that it's on my timeline, the only thing that's stopping me are my own thoughts, like putting boulders on a road, on a highway. And my highway looked like a landslide. So she had me envision my goal over and over again, and not to be attached on how to achieve it. And I saw myself on stage holding the book in front of lots of people wearing a beautiful green dress. And 6 months later, many intensive sessions later, I started showing up. They started showing up in my life with less effort. Things began lining up. The title of my book showed up in my brain, in Every Belief is a Lie, and I realized that the word lie was in the word belief. And I went on the internet expecting to see it everywhere. It wasn't. I went to buy the domain thinking I'm going to have to come up with some abbreviations. It was there. I bought up every .com, .org, .net. Imagine. And I thought, okay, I'm going to start writing, and I started writing nonstop. It just started pouring through me. And one day I was on Michael Jaco, and Kevin Hoyt was on there, and he was being interviewed saying that he was running for governor in Vermont. And I thought, how is this possible? I'm a truther. I helped start Vermont Stands Up, and here's this guy who's talking about all this, and I had never heard of him. I emailed him, and the next day he contacted me, said, we need to meet. And he said, I want to meet you next Sunday. I said, well, I'm going to be in New Hampshire visiting my daughter, so let's see if this, if it works, if we pass each other, on the highway, if it works out. So as I'm driving, I get a call from Kevin. Where are you? I said, I'm coming up to the Montpelier exit. He said, so am I. Get off. I get off the highway. He's like, are you in a white car? I said, yes. I said, oh, my God, this is creepy. I don't even know who this guy is. We stop at a cafe. I told him my story. And then I asked him if he knew Dr. Christiane Northrup. And he said, no, but I might be able to connect you. The next thing I knew, he called me up and he said, not only am I going to introduce you to Dr. Northrup, but I'm getting you on Michael Jaco's show with her. Oh, my gosh, one of my idols. And at the end of the YouTube show, he asked her if she would be willing to endorse my book, and she said yes. 2 weeks ago, I was shopping with friends, found a beautiful dress. They told me I needed to have it to be on stage. I bought it. I got home and realized it was the green dress I saw myself on stage a year ago with my book completed.
Wow.
So I never imagined the synchronicities, miracles, and gifts that would change my life forever. But remember this, you are the only one stopping you from your dreams. When you remove the lies from your beliefs, everything is possible.
Absolutely beautiful. Jasmine and I are nodding and smiling through. You don't see us. You'll see us on the video, but we're both sitting here nodding and smiling through your whole presentation. Fabulous. You got 1 minute to spare. So high five. Very good. Wonderful. And I do agree. I too had a similar, I'm like you, Lisa, I never envisioned myself as an author, and I'm publishing the 4th book. So they're both coming out on our tour. And where can people find you? Lisa Schermerhorn. It will be on the YouTube and on the website because it's a fun name to spell. So you can find LisaSchermerhorn.com.
Partner Kevin Martin, and we also have a website, peakperformancemindsetcoaching.com.
Right.
Or you can reach me through my website at lisaschermerhorncoaching.com. Okay. And I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn, and my book will be out, I'm praying, by the 22nd. So if you're interested, please, I'd love for you to buy my book, and I'm so excited to get this message out there.
And I'm excited to have you, and Lisa and I were born on the same day. Yes.
Yeah. So
we have very parallel lives. It's so much fun. And so the Chronicles of Hope, the Archangels, is coming out on 8/4. So everybody save the date, purchase it for $1.99 on 8/4. It's the ebook version. Help make it a bestseller for me, please. Yeah. And tune in to truthtour.net and sign up. Meanwhile, until next time, thank you, Lisa. Thank you, listeners. Look up, stay positive, and be the light in someone's day.